Thanks to those joining me live and to those that be joining us here on Archive. This is HCP 104. We're live once again every Monday. Stay tuned. Hit that bell button that way you're notified when we come on live. We don't have a set time frame, jobs, etc. You know. Calix, how's it going, brother? How you doing?
Good. Monday morning. Let's get this week started. HCP 104. Let's go.
That's right. That's right. And of course, East Coast is like any morning. Like the East Coast 6 it's only they count. You know, the East Coast people are like any morning here. Like, oh, it's 1 p.m. over here. Like they think it's just them. Like, only we matter. We were part of the 13 colonies, so we were first. Everybody else is second. Like whatever. Okay. At the end of the day, it's morning in most of the country. How about that? All right. So let's go ahead and get this one started this, I guess you could say afternoon in Central Time. All right. Puerto Rican Rum already in the chat. How's it going, my brother? Okay. Look, HCP gave out some awards, and I want to give a shout out to these two young amateur boxers. Okay. First of all, shout out to the 2022 Women's Amateur Hispanic Causing Panic of the Year, Jennifer Lozano. Okay, just recently won the U.S. tournament in Lubbock. Okay, she's ranked number 1. Actually, had a win over Kayla Gomez, so I'm a big supporter of. But she got a big win. You got to shout out to her doing her thing. And of course, last year, man, 2022 Men's Amateur of the Year, Raheem Gonzalez, right, doing his thing. So I want to give a shout out to these two young guns. All right. We'll see where the journey takes them. They got Olympic dreams, Calix. You know what I mean? They got a dream. Speaking of a dream, did you see the MLK statue?
Yeah.
Bro, like I never seen a statue revealed and nobody knew what to do because they didn't know what it was. They're like,
yikes.
yo, like, why not just do a statue of him? Like I'm just saying. The arms were on point, though. I mean, the buttons on they were on point, but it is what it is. I mean, look, HCP, that artist caused some panic for sure, though. HCP of the week. Last week we had a unanimous Avila. It was easy. This week is a little tricky, apparently. Mm-hmm. To my surprise, Calix, you had a nominee. Who did you nominate for HCP of the week?
Nova. Comeback win, moving up to 130 after losing to Robice Ramirez last year. I like Nova. That's my nominee this week. I just thought it was a good win coming back and moving up a weight class.
Absolutely. And check this out. Sonteo Media. Neno Rodriguez, 24-1 from Riverside. All right, he was doing the headlining. Look, he did his thing. Okay. And that's who he is nominated. So shout out to him. And then actually, hold up. Mistake. Oh, hold on. That's not his nominee. What am I talking about? Hold on, guys. And I had this ready to go, by the way. Okay, I had it ready to go. Okay, my bad. He nominated Javier El Güerito Zamaron. So that's who the vote will count for, by the way, on the poll. I'm going to do the poll again. Hispanic Causing Panic of the week. We need a producer out here. All right. Producer is fired. He won by first round knockout last night in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Remember the 70s show?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know there was any boxing in Wisconsin. That's crazy. You know what I mean? Those people in Wisconsin must have been shook, bro. You nominated him for HCP of the week. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? And of course, we had another nomination. All right. By MC in the Ring. Floyd Castro Diaz is my HCP nominee, she said. The 19-year-old prospect was scheduled to fight on yesterday's ESPN Plus card, but was forced to cancel due to medical concerns. Representing both Mexico and Peru. Man, it's a double duo. Okay, Diaz was had an amazing 2022, fighting 5 times, improving his record 3-0 to 8-0. Okay, so there you go. I think despite my mess up there, though those are the nominees, but I'm going to tell you who should be the HCP of the week. I'm going to tell you guys right now.
Who is that?
Jessica Neri Plata. Okay, she did her thing. She won a unification fight. Okay, Against Clavel, I think her name is, over there in Canada. Really good fighter. Okay, it was a unification fight. It's already a candidate for fight of the year. It was a great performance. Good power punch for that division. And I think she should be the HCP of the week. I think people should give it to her. And it tells you where boxing is and how far women's boxing needs to come, because there's unification fights. And outside of women's boxing enthusiasts, which is a small group, and already a small group of boxing fans, right? There's not a lot of people paying attention to it. You know what I mean? But I think she deserves the award, but it is what it is. Sorry to Sontel for messing up the name of his nominee, by the way. Is what it is. H Money in the building. It says HCP. HCP. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. We will close out the poll by the end of the show, so make sure you vote. If you're watching archive, you can't vote. You got to tune in live to vote for these. You know what I mean? So we'll see who wins it next week. But those are your nominees, guys. And
get to voting, and let's get to talking. Lomachenko versus Haney. Looks like it's happening May 20th. Where it's happening, we don't know. But Lomachenko versus Haney, May 20th. What's your initial thoughts on this? Because I love this fight. Real fighters, real fights, real championships. Let's go.
No, absolutely. Let me tell you something, man. This is a fight that we've been wanting for a while, right? This fight's been in talks for quite a while. The dream Devin Haney. Okay, Devin the Dream Haney against Lomachenko, the Matrix, high-tech Lomachenko. Let me tell you guys something. This has been in talks for a while, even before the fight with Teofimo. I mean, the reality is Haney was with the Zone, right? The Teofimo fight was more convenient for Top Rank. They made a big event. They got like 4 million viewers and stuff. So I'm not complaining or anything, but that's how long Devin Haney's been waiting for a shot. Devin Haney was elevated to, regular WBC champion, as we all know, right? And since then, the talk was there. Oh, is he the real champion? Oh no, he's the email champion. And then now that he beat, the man that beat the man in Cambozas, we still have people questioning Devin Haney. I mean, Tank's one of them, right? We'll talk about him later. But a lot of fans are even saying, oh, he didn't beat the real champion. It reminds me a lot of what's happened, throughout boxing history, right? Someone isn't impressed with a certain champion, and when someone beats that champion, yeah, but if that guy didn't retire or if he wasn't out of commission, you wouldn't have been the real champion. You got to beat him in order to prove this. Like, to me, Devin Haney has already proven he is a champion because he has all the belts. But for a lot of people, there's a lot of stake at this, right? This is a quote-unquote real test for him. And you know what? It's also an opportunity for Lomachenko to silence his doubters, right? And to show that he is great. Because if he is an all-time great, he should be able to win this fight, Calix.
And this is what I'm talking about right here. Real fighters, real fights, real championships. This isn't, oh, look, we're going to take whatever the best money is out there. No, man, this is about belts. It's resembling a sport. Shakur versus Yoshino. Haney versus Lomachenko. We got ourselves a nice top-ranked semifinals tourney happening at lightweight. Let it play out. Let's see who's the best. All of them are assuming risk. And let's see who gets past that risk, and let's see who wins. But as far as who wins, the opening betting odds are 2.5 to 1 favorite for Haney. Do you agree with that on the sir? Just off the top of your head, do you agree 2.5 to 1 betting favorite opening up for Haney? Because for a guy younger who's looking to replace the lion who's been the older lion who's been in the weight class, typically, generally speaking, in the past, the younger lion has overcome the older lion if he's real. So do you see that playing out here? Do you think that's priced in the 2.5 to 1 odds?
Well, look, first of all, shout out to El Chido, and of course we got Virgil Ortiz here saying not the real Virgil. If it is a real Virgil, then I apologize. Of course, you come on the show anytime. But much respect to him, he takes on better competition than all the PBC fighters. Look. Obviously, I agree with this. Now, I'm actually shocked that he's not a bigger favorite, to be honest with you.
Wow.
Because if you line up 10 people, I believe at least 7 or 6 of those people are going to pick Devin Haney to win, right? And I believe that, right? And we'll see, obviously, because I can't speak for everybody, and everybody will give their take. I wonder what the chat thinks. You guys, let us know. You let us know in the comments. If you're watching an archive, who do you think is going to win this fight? We could test that out. But here's the thing. I was expecting slightly higher, like a 3.5 to 1 favorite. Devin Haney, he's younger, he's on a roll, he's on a winning streak. He's coming off 2 great performances over, Kambosos, who is not as bad as people are making him out to be. I mean, is Kambosos top 5? Probably not, but he is a top 10 lightweight for sure. And he had 2 great performances over him. I think he should be a bigger favorite, Devin Haney. He's younger.
Not so fast. Not so fast.
Why not?
I think this is a toss-up fight. It's a toss, and I think these 7 to 8 to 10 people you're asking, I think some of them.
I'm rubbing elbows with the bookies, Cal. I'm rubbing elbows with the bookies right now.
They're going to get cold feet as this fight gets closer because guess what? Lomachenko is still Lomachenko. I think the fact that people are saying, his last fight against Jermaine Ortiz,
Lomachenko is not a point. I just want to throw it out there. That just happens to be true.
But are we reading too much into the 2 Kambosos wins and too much into the Jermaine Ortiz win for Lomachenko, where he looked a little bit off, not a little bit off, a good bit off, but was that a stylistic matchup for him that wasn't that good? Will he fight up to the competition against Devin Haney? Those are my questions. And I think this is what people, when I see 2.5 to 1 favorite, I see this as a toss-up fight. I think Lomachenko is undervalued coming into the fight. I think you're wrong. When you say 3 to 1, 4 to 1,
no, I'm saying that should have been the opening odds, and I do believe that it would have closed and the gap would have gotten shorter, right? Or closer, that is, the closer we get to the fight. We're talking about opening odds here. Opening odds, they either widen, stay the same, or shorten, right? We all know that. Mm-hmm. I believe it's the type of fight where they would shorten as a promotion kicks in, and Lomachenko starts getting interviewed. He starts talking about how important this is for his legacy. I think people are going to start feeling it. Okay, but let me tell you something, man. The allure of Lomachenko, it's gone, Calix. There's a crack in his armor. The Lomachenko that stood there, okay, on ESPN, okay, looked at the camera with confidence and was asked, "What if you don't win this fight?" He said, "No, failure is not an option." He said, "I cannot fail." He was telling a story about how his dad threw him in the middle of a lake, and if he drowned, he drowns. But and all these crazy stories, right? Okay, cool. But guess what? We're going to throw him in the middle of the lake, Calix. All right. And we're going to see if he doesn't drown against Devin Haney. All right. We're going to see if that doesn't happen this time. I think that this a crack in the armor, Calix. I think the allure is gone. I think Devin Haney knows it. I think Devin Haney's can outweigh him by 10 pounds in that fight. I'm just telling you right now. And he's going to use his length. And I think Loma's going to have some problems with that. That's how I feel. I think it's justified. I think the bookies got it right. I'm not counting Loma out, by the way. Yeah, I'm just telling you why it makes sense why they have it this way.
I get it. 2.5 to 1 is undervalued for Lomachenko, though. And stop the cap, Nando. He doesn't need this victory for the Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame is already submitted. This is what we call lanyard. This is icing on top of the cake if he were to beat Haney. But Haney, I like him.
Nando's I like Haney a lot. With the Hall of Fame. He's like Loma, you want the Hall of Fame?
Haney, I like him. Think he's got a high ceiling, but I'm telling you, don't count out Lomachenko like I see people counting out Lomachenko. Now, this fight is rumored, could be happening in Saudi Arabia, could be happening in Madison Square Garden. It looks like it's not happening there, according to Haney. The Saudi Arabia fights, I have sort of a mixed opinion on the fights going out, oil money, desert money fights. And I'll give my opinion on that, but I want to hear your opinion on the Saudi Arabia fights. Are they good for boxing? Are they bad for boxing? Are you agnostic on it? Because I have sort of mixed opinions on this.
Well, here's the thing. People that say Saudi Arabia money is blood money, you're not wrong. But this is a blood sport. I mean, this isn't exactly like tennis or something, right? The reality is, boxing is prize fighting, and if they have money to offer, prize fighters are going to take it. It's the way it is. Boxing's never been a sport where, we can't do it there because of human rights. And, now is it hypocritical because the WBC was like banning Russian fighters from fighting? Of course, and I spoke out against that, obviously. I didn't like that WBC was punishing fighters for something their government's doing, right? I didn't like that, right? And I don't like boxing getting involved in politics that way. I just don't. Okay, I believe we all have a right to our own political views, etc. But I don't think the sport as a whole, right? This sport, I don't believe should be taking sides in that way. But with that aside, people could call, like, if we want to go there, and I'm not going to say that long on it. We could call a lot of in any country. You could say it's blood money because all governments in every country do fucked up shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go there, but I wish not to go there. My problem, my main issue with fights being in Saudi Arabia, okay, my main issue, all right, is those are not boxing fans, okay? Like, they're just not. I look at my analytics. I don't see any views from Saudi Arabia. Okay, I'm not getting like even 1% Saudi Arabia. I would ask any content creator here to go through the analytics, okay, and point at me their Saudi Arabia hits and how it's hot in Saudi Arabia. No, it's we have oligarchs buying fights and they're giving them the money. Okay, cool, good for the fighters, but what does it do for me? It's putting the fight at a weird time. Okay, we don't even know when the fight's going to happen. They don't allow ring girls. Okay, oh, respect their culture. Well, I mean, they don't have the fights there. Like, it is what it is. Okay, yes, I want to see the ring girls. Okay, that's me. Whatever. All right. And then, like, what are they going to ask? Like, the women boxers to cover up more? Like, when they fight over there, it's like stupid, bro. But look, my issue is that's not. I have an issue when there's fights in Vegas because the arenas are half empty half the time. But at least it packs up at the end with boxing fans. Saudi Arabia, they're not real boxing fans. That's why I don't like it.
And let me tell you this. Why I have mixed signals on it is I agree with Nando on the surface, and I agree with you on the surface that, and I've talked about this, long-term versus short-term, we got to be thinking long-term. So if you put the fights where they belong, you build more of a sustainable base, right? You build more of a sustainable base. And by the way, this is proven that over time, you put fights where they belong, put fighters where they belong, they build a bigger base. So I don't like on the surface going to Saudi Arabia instead of Wembley, instead of for this fight, Oakland or MSG or Barclays. I don't like it, but let me tell you why they do it. The rumor today is that Usyk versus Fury, they'll likely go to Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is going to make a bid for it this week. And if they do that, it's an easier fight to make because Fury is willing to take 50-50 because they're putting up more money. It's an easier fight to make if it goes there. 50-50, Fury's taking 50% of a much larger pie. But if they go to Wembley, even if there's more fans there, even if there's more fanfare, even if it's a better, vibrant atmosphere, it's a smaller pie. So they're saying if it goes to Wembley, then they have to renegotiate the whole fight. Fury is not willing to take 50% at that point. Fury's going to demand 60% because the pie is smaller. So that's why that's happening. And by the way, boxing is littered with examples of Muhammad Ali fighting in different countries and whatnot. So this isn't anything out of the ordinary. I'd rather this fight at MSG. I'd rather this fight at Oracle in Oakland. I'd much rather Fury versus Usyk at Wembley, but it is what it is at the end of the day.
Look, there's a lot of money in Saudi Arabia, but I'm just not a fan of it, brother.
Mm-hmm.
It's just me. But look, let me say this about pay-per-views really quick. I don't like. I understand it. Why we have pay-per-view? I don't have to like it, right? But here's the reality: these fighters want to make a lot of money, right? And there's only so much of the pie. Like the budgets are going down every year. Every year the budgets are going down. And there's two types of pay-per-views. There's the big extravagant event pay-per-views that you got to put on pay-per-view because it's going to make amazing money. And then there's pay-per-view, like the way there's porn on pay-per-view. Like, because you can't put it on regular TV. Nobody wants it. It's your only alternative. It's the only way to put it on, right? You remember those a lot of those little pay-per-views that Top Rank and them used to do? It wasn't because this is what boxing fans do. They think like they think every they think pay-per-view is, and we've been programmed to think this way, by the way. Thanks to Don King and all them. We think, pay-per-view. What's the first thing they say? That's not pay-per-view worthy. Pay-per-view is like a big event, like the Super Bowl, but like the Super Bowl isn't on pay-per-view. Like no other sport. No mainstream sport does this, right? They don't put the Super Bowl on pay-per-view. The playoffs are not on pay-per-view. Only boxing does this, right? But guys, not every pay-per-view is because they want to, and because it's well, they're going to do it because they're going to make a lot of money. A lot of it is due to necessity. That I will say. All right,
necessity that they created, unfortunately. But here's the issue that I have with a D style is with Benavidez Plant, Ryan versus Tank, Spence versus Keith, Deontay versus Andy, and then you've got Canelo fighting May 5th, and then you got possibly Usyk versus Fury, who knows? And then you've got for sure, we got Lomachenko versus Haney. So you have 6 pay-per-views possibly in a 9-week period. 9 to 10 week period. We got 6 pay-per-views. It's too much. It's too much. We have a surplus of pay-per-views. It can happen. And many of these pay-per-views are happening out of necessity by decisions that promoters have made in the past.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And Andriama says, Latin Fury and Pinoy Power was dope. They were. I like those pay-per-views. You know what I mean? But there was a reason they were not on HBO. HBO was investing in the higher weight classes. It's just the way it was, right?
And they were discounted too.
Yeah, also discounted, and they were packed. They had a lot of good cards, so, hey, times change. And I mean, speaking of pay-per-view, did you, fork out your money, Calix, for these influencer cards? You know what I mean? That you fork out, you're already subscribed to the zone, and they want you to fork out $40. I think it was $40 to watch KSI fight a dude you probably never heard of in your life, right? And watch all these other influencers flail away.
And by the way, I'm agnostic on celebrity boxing. If it's your thing, I'm fine. Like, I'm not here trying to be a party pooper. If you want to watch celebrity boxing, that's fine. If you want to pay for it, that's fine. It's just not my thing. But what I do admire about celebrity boxing in the game is it resembles close to WWE. It's beautiful in that you have the opening card. It's packed. The opening fight is packed in there, and it's energetic. The ring walks are energetic for every single fighter. They're building up fights. They're building up fighters for the future. They have guys facing off in the stands, threatening to fight each other in the stands. You got guys, as soon as they win, they're calling out their next fight, facing off with their next possible opponent. Things are moving, right? It's a lot different than things we'll talk about in the future of the show, like Ryan versus Tank. Was a contract sent? Was a contract not sent? Keith or Bud versus Errol. Are they ever going to fight? 5 years constant posturing. This isn't constant posturing. Things are moving fast. We are in a day and age. It's the Kardashian era, right? We need flashy things. We need things to move. People have short attention spans. And celebrity boxing it works for that, for what we're in now. Boxing is too complex and it takes too long to develop. We need to learn from celebrity boxing.
Shout out to Reese Max says, sorry, I'm not paying a pay-per-view fee for KSI. Like, you're already paying for the zone, and the premium now is, now you call it celebrity, I call it influencer boxing, right? And I'll tell you why, because influencers outside of their bubble, a lot of people don't know who they are like that, right? So like they're well known within their cult. You know what I mean? So like there's been influencers that have like millions of followers on Instagram, and they'll announce that they're going to have like a meet and greet, like nobody shows up. It's kind of sad, right? But that's what happens. Now, if a celebrity does a meet and greet, people show up, right? So I call it influencer boxing. Now some of the influencers do have a celebrity status. Like, I think it's safe to say that the Paul brothers, KSI, are celebrities. But I don't know if I've ever seen one of those influencers or celebrities. But they're definitely influencers. And their cults show up, though. They show up to these fight cards, right? Now, mainly for KSI or whatever, but they also shared a lot on social media. They have a big following. I'm telling you right now, man, this is a monster that boxing created. Okay, after years, bro, of hearing things like, Well, why should he get a shot? He's not a draw. He doesn't bring anything to the table. And I'm the A side. I'm the B side. Oh, he's more popular, so that matters more than being champion. Popularity matters more than merit. The real man of the division is Tank because he's more popular than Devin Haney. No one knows who Devin Haney is. It doesn't really matter if he has all the belts. You have Ryan Garcia saying the belts don't matter, devaluing the belts, right? Devaluing what it has made boxing, right? The hierarchy of boxing that's made it relevant for years. Okay, I mean this is people saying, "Oh, AJ is better than Fury because he packs stadiums and Fury doesn't." All right, those type of things, right? All those little things are all little microcosms of a cause this issue, right? So don't get mad. Like if you're gonna say things like, "Oh well, Ryan Garcia versus Tanks, it's better than Loma versus Haney. It's a better fight because they're more popular. They're gonna sell more pay-per-views. It's gonna bring more eyeballs, and only the hardcores care about the other ones. So who cares, right? If you're gonna do that, you got to stay consistent, though. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem, Calix, if people do that. I don't have a problem. That's your stance. But then don't cry when KSI and Jake Paul come out and say, you know what, will be a bigger fight than Tank versus Ryan. So our fight matters more. We'll sell more pay-per-view than them. Because it's not about merit anymore. It's about popularity. Okay? You're making it a popularity contest instead of the best fighting the fucking best. Okay, using the hierarchy system and finding out in the fucking ring who the best is. You don't want to do it that way. You want to do it through popularity and social media followers. We used to joke. We used to joke on this platform that they're going to be showing how many followers a fucker has on YouTube, okay, or on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, then their fucking record and who they fought, okay, and the record of their opponents. And this is where we are. So don't come crying at me, oh, Jake Paul, who do they think they are? They're not real boxers. It doesn't matter if it sells more. It's not a better fight. Well, I think that Loma Haney is a better fight than Lion Ryan, which we'll talk about a little bit. Okay, Tank, I think that's a better fight, Calix. What I think. All right?
Let me say this. If you're done, go ahead. If you need to keep going, go ahead. You want
to take a break?
No, look. Activity. We hit on that on my channel at least, and I know your channel as well. Constantly, right? Top 10 for 14 combined times. Top 50. People know the stats at this point, right? So what do these guys get right? KSI, Jake Paul, they're more active than these other fighters, than the real fighters. And people need to understand something. Like, my dad once drove to Mississippi, only about an hour away, to watch Tanya Harding fight. People are willing to go watch celebrities fight whoever they are. They are. It's always been that way, and they're tapping into the market now, but they're tapping into the market because there's a huge vacuum that was created by real boxers who are not behaving like real boxers. They fight, and they get behind the microphone after the fight, and they're asked. I remember when Caleb Plant, we called him out. Caleb Plant was asked about Canelo after beating, I think, Truax, and was asked directly about Canelo, and he said, I need to go talk to Al Heyman. No, this is your moment. Live in the WWE moment. Call out Canelo Alvarez. Call out the guy you want to fight. Don't say, I need to talk to Al Heyman. I need to talk to Bob. We need to see if it makes correct business sense. No, call out the fighters you want to call out. Have the fighter you want to call out. Fly him out. Have him sit ringside and build these fights. Build an organic fan base. Build organic fights. And since we're not doing that in boxing, these celebrity boxers saw that vacuum. They took advantage of it, and they're behaving like real fighters. Even if they're not real fighters, even if they don't look great in the ring, they're still behaving like real fighters, and they're celebrities.
Like it is what it is. What are we going to do? You guys said that selling out arenas is more important than the best fight of the best. Now, I'm not saying those things don't matter, by the way, right? They matter. But but here's the thing. Canelo sells out stadiums, but like he has merit to it. Like there's merit to it. Okay? Like you want a guy to sell stadiums but be good. You want a guy to be a big draw but be good in the ring. You know, you want it to be qualified. You know what I mean? That's what you want. So Poppy fighting every 3 months in a KO streak. Shout out to Joe Habib, ringside reporter. All right. Shout out to him. And he says, I'm just a guy with a local 22 jacket trying to make a living. That's all he's trying to do. He's just trying to make ends meet. He still gave me a super chat. You know, he's like this. He's like, oh, I have enough to give these styles super chat. Let me support him. You know what I mean? A shout out to everybody, man. Who's down with HCP? All right.
Hit that like button.
Let me tell you guys something. HCP is back every Monday. Make sure you guys tune in. Don't miss out on any of this, guys. Just one more thing I want to say about this, Calix. Oscar De La Hoya called for the end of this celebrity influencer boxing and makes a call for action. Let's all go back to real boxing, as real as his abs. You know what I mean? Like he wants to go back to real boxing. Enough of this shit. Now, granted, people were pointing out that he did Box Shack, all right? But that was in the day when they put that shit on Fox and they were doing it for charity.
Right.
It wasn't on pay-per-view. It wasn't on on HBO Championship Boxing, guys. That's the difference. And if you're watching boxing, you'll know that difference. But De La Hoya is saying, hey, I don't want any part of this. I mean, he was almost going to fight Victor Belfort, but I don't want any part of this stuff. Only when I want to do it on Triller, okay? But let's get back to boxing, guys. Back to boxing, real boxing. Let's go.
And look, Oscar needs to tap into that market, by the way. Just tap into the market with your fake abs. Fight Tito Trinidad. Tap into the market. You can do both at once, right? We can do both at once. People realize this before I segue into the next topic. Before people need to realize this, D-Style, is celebrity boxing isn't taking away from boxing as long as boxing goes back to its traditional manner of building up fights and building up fighters. All right. As long as boxing is doing boxing is hurting boxing. All right. And boxing hurting boxing created celebrity boxing, but boxing, when it behaves like boxing, it's okay. But when it gets away from that, it's not okay. But speaking of Oscar De La Hoya, he's saying no contract has been sent his way. And by the way, today is his deadline, D-Style. It's his line in the sand. You better send me a contract today or we're moving on. We're taking Ryan elsewhere. We're moving on. What do you think? Is this right here, D-Style? Is this cap? Is this cap from Ryan or from Oscar De La Hoya?
Why was he announcing it saying they agree to everything? Oh, it's all set. We're ready to go. We're like it's ready to run. Like that's it. Oh, where's my contract? Like, well, what do you mean? You like, well, why are you like this is stupid. This is why I'm telling people this fight's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Like this is stupid, bro. Like they're playing everybody like a fiddle. Boxing's logo should be a fiddle, bro. Because that's all they do to boxing fans. You know what I mean? Or the boxing fans logo should be a fiddle. Y'all get played out here, okay? Right? And all you boxing fans, look, I was going to say something inappropriate. I don't want to cause too much panic. But here's the thing. Oscar De La Hoya, let me tell you something. He comes out, make his best Tyson Fury impersonation, right? They're both like wearing the unbuttoned T-shirts. You know what I mean? Like maybe Fury should get the fake abs, by the way. Hey, it might be the only way you could ever get them. You know what I mean? Like the fake abs and like still have the love handles. You know what I mean? Imagine how that would look. That would be crazy. But I don't know, man. I just have a feeling that we're going to get Tank versus Isaac Cruz. I think that's been the plan the whole time. And I think Ryan Garcia is going to fight somebody at Golden Boy, in my opinion.
You think?
Yeah.
Think we're not getting it?
I don't think we're going to get the fight. I think all this, like, oh, there's a deadline, all this horse shit, it's all bullshit to me. You know what I mean? Everybody hating on Oscar says Hawker Mustang.
I disagree with you on that. I think if anything is going to derail this fight, it'll be that court date on February 16th, because I have no idea what that does not look good to me. And the more I see the details of that, the more I agree with Beeb that it's very troubling. So if anything's going to derail that fight, I think it's going to be that. I don't think it's going to be whether a contract is sent or not sent. And the confusing thing is you don't know who to trust here because Steven Espinoza is sleazy. We know that he's the weasel, and he's out there saying this is normal that we don't send contracts for a big fight. Is it normal that a fighter receives a contract the week of a weigh-in? Is that really normal for a fight of this magnitude? So I don't believe Steven Espinoza. I don't believe anything coming out of the weasel's mouth. What I do believe from this is I got to give Ryan this credit. Ryan pushed for this fight. I think the reason this fight, as of right now, theoretically is happening in April is because Ryan pushed for it. And because by extension, Golden Boy pushed for it because Ryan pushed for it. I think it's his side that got it done. I think the fact that the fight's happening at 136, the fact that they told him he couldn't get the fight if he was doing a tune-up in October, and then they pushed it back from December, January to now April. I think the fact that Ryan's jumping all these loops and jumping all these hurdles to get this fight, we got to give Ryan that credit at least.
We'll see. Respect. Does Fury care about abs?
Fury does not care about abs. Fury might need a BBL though. I'm just saying, he looks like Humpty Dumpty out there. So I mean, do you when we talk about contract sent, not sent, what do we do with this as fans? What do we do with this? Who's lying? Who's not lying? I'm not even interested in engaging that because it's frustrating that we're at this point. It goes back to what we were just talking about, D-style celebrity boxing. They get things moving. We're talking about
like the more they talk about a fight, the less likely the fights to happen. The more no one who's about to make a fight announces they're about to make a fight. Remember when Spence Pacquiao got announced? It just got announced, bro. Like there wasn't like, oh, it's imminent. Oh, it's all like, what the fuck does all but done mean? What does it mean? It's all but done.
Terms agreed to.
Like if you're dating a girl and they say, "Oh, she's all but faithful," like, what does that mean, bro?
I mean, she's not faithful.
Oh, I'm like, do you have a job? I mean, I'm all but employed. What does that mean, bro? Okay, are you a winner in life? I'm all but trolling. Like it is what it is. Like that's what I do for a living. I troll, like whatever. Like it's whatever. All but done. That's a boxing media's new term, bro. All but done. Then it's not done. Like either it's done or it's not. It's like I'm gonna flip a coin. You guess what it is, Calix? It's all but tails. So it's whatever to me, man. Look, I want to talk about this, man. I want to talk about this. Do you remember? And I saw this on Twitter. I believe it was probably like from Instagram, but I saw it on Twitter, right? And I don't know if you guys, Ali Setback was doing I don't even know if it was an interview or he just made a connection with the two fighters, but Regis Prograis was there, like I think he was driving or something, and then and Ramirez was on there, and Regis just flat out said it. He's like, bro, I already heard you're gonna fight Commey, brother. So what's all this about? Basically, telling like, just don't waste my time. You're already gonna fight Commey. No, don't believe that. Don't believe what you see on the internet, Regis. Don't believe it. Like fucking Ali, bro. God, don't believe what you see. Just don't believe that. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. It's not. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. Reporting, but here's the thing. So and Ramirez like, no, I want to fight you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and now who's he gonna fight, Calix?
Commey.
He's gonna fight the homie. What's the homie's name?
Commey.
That's right. He's gonna fight the homie Commey. And I don't dislike the fight. I'll be honest, it's a good fight. I like the fight, but it's not a Regis Prograis fight. It's not a title fight. You know what I mean? It's not like, dude, what are you doing? Did he lie, Calix? Or did maybe the circumstances, did they change? Did he duck?
Cap, he lied. He said he wasn't going to fight Commey, and he's fighting Commey. They told it wasn't just Jose Ramirez speaking to Ellie and Regis. It was Jose Ramirez's manager saying on Twitter, fighting back with fans, he's not fighting Commey next. Stop believing it. He's not, and he's fighting Commey next. 7-1 favorite, D-Style, 7-1 favorite. In replacement of a fight where he was going to be a 2-1 betting odds underdog opening up. So what am I to make of this, D-Style? I'm finding it more difficult to be empathetic of fighters who are making high 6 figures to 7 figures per fight for working 8 weeks per year. 8 weeks per year. And I have respect for them. They're fighters. They're spilling blood, guts, all that stuff. I get it. But when times are getting more difficult for people and boxing fans are being asked to sacrifice more to sustain this sport, I'm finding it difficult, more and more difficult as time goes on, to empathize for fighters who are working 8 weeks per year and couldn't find it in his unbusy schedule. He used 44 weeks of PTO in 2022 for his wedding and his long honeymoon, D-Style. And he sacrificed a vacant belt for it. And that's fine. Look, we're family men here. You want to do that? That's fine. But you go into that knowing that Regis Prograis is next up. He's going to fight Zepeda next. You are going to give 50-50 to fight Zepeda, a fight you already won. You're going to get the belt. And now you're going to be the one getting 65 for the Prograis fight, not 35. So you go into that knowing I'm sacrificing the vacant belt. I'm next in line. I'm going to fight Prograis next. They're saying it at the time. Don't worry about it. We'll fight Prograis next. We'll fight Prograis next. They know they get 35% split after the purse split if nobody bids on it, right? And what happens? They start whining. 35%, that's not enough. And if it's not enough, that's fine. But just know you sacrificed that by taking 44 weeks of PTO in 2022. You did that, not the boxing fans. So you put yourself in that situation. All right. So now, if you're not going to take the 35%, now his manager's out there lying again, saying, we offered 40%. You didn't offer 40% because in the next sentence, you're saying we can't work with Pro Bellum. And they're lying about that because a top-ranked fighter just fought a Pro Bellum fighter. And he's also managing Virgil Ortiz. And Virgil Ortiz wants to fight a Pro Bellum fighter in Dallas, Texas next. Stop the cap. I'm not going to call it a duck. I don't want to be respectful for the fighters, but I'm just saying it has quackish tendencies.
Well, that didn't sound very respectful. You know what I mean? But like just because you said it in a respectful tone, that's that New Orleans, Louisiana, bias is what's going on right now. You know what I mean? But no, seriously. Look. First of all, I want to read this just because it made me laugh. Shout out to the boxing historian. Okay, Brian. Okay, you said, I don't feel shit for these effeminate cats. Shout out to you. By the way, you guys need to stop being sexist and vote for Plata, okay? She's the rightful HCP. Nova's winning. You're going to have Calix nomination.
Nova, let's go.
So what are y'all doing? Stop being sexist. Vote for the woman that unified titles, brother.
Don't do it.
She won it for Mexico. Like, she beat Canada. I'm just saying. Like, it's a big deal.
Be sexist. Vote for Nova. Be sexist. Let's go.
Jesus Christ. Fuck that puto Ryan, says El Chido. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Look. General question that I'm asking myself, but does ducking happen? Because there's people that have these hard rules about fighters, and they think of fighters of like there's these guys that have like no fear. It's impossible to fear. They'll fight anybody, anytime. Like they'll fight you for that pen you're holding in your hand if they want it. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is. Like if they see in the street they want that orders cap, they'll fight you. Okay, okay. You're at the Walmart. All right, they'll fight you. All right. If you got a gun, they'll fight you. You have a knife, they'll fight you. You have a samurai sword on you, they'll fight you. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're a heavyweight, they're a flyweight, they'll get in the ring, they'll fight you. Like, they'll say, I'll get in the ring with them. And it's only the management that no, let me hold you back. You don't want to fight that heavyweight? You crazy? Let me at him. Let me at him. Like a flyweight saying, let me at him against Tyson Fury, because that's what they do, right? Do Tuckers fight? Maybe they do, right? Do fighters duck? Yes. Fighters have been ducking for years. Dudes ducked Jack Johnson for years. So he's shamed like one of the champions to fight him. Like fighters, yes, they duck. Robinson admitted to ducking a fighter. Said, I'm too pretty to fight that dude. Plenty of fighters have said, yes, I didn't want it. And it's not because they start shaking on their boots, because it's not convenient, right? They are an inconvenient truth, okay? They're too big of a risk. The risk reward isn't there. Like, look, unless you're going to force me to do it, I ain't going to do it. I have other options, easier options that pay me the same, okay? We can't let fighters off the hook by just blaming the people with the suits, okay? Like if you call in customer service and the agent on the phone starts cussing you out, are you going to really say, oh, it's not his fault. It's the people with the suits forcing him to work. No, they will cut you out, right? Like, yes, fighters do duck, okay? Now, with that said, Calix, do fans over-exaggerate about ducking?
Right.
Yes, right? There's nuance to this. The truth is somewhere in the middle, right? There's two extremes. You have the fighters never duck no matter what camp. And then you have the, fighters duck all the time. Canelo is ducking whoever he's not fighting this week. You know what I mean? The fighters duck.
Oh, fighters duck. There's no doubt about it. Fighters duck. And there's a bit more ducking than not ducking right now. And I'll say this. Here's what I will pose to the Jose Ramirez extremists out there, because D-Style and I are Jose Ramirez fans. I don't want to come off as a Regis Prograis guy, because I've called out Regis Prograis in the past for past business decisions that he made that could have furthered his career had he not made those business decisions. So this isn't a bias slant. I've also been a fan of Ramirez. Ramirez, throughout his career, has fought tough competition. Ramirez fought for the undisputed title against Josh Taylor and fell short, and that's fine. He fell short. None of us over here called him exposed for that. None of us did it. None of us did it. We all said, let's see what happens next. Let's see what happens next. We're still in Jose Ramirez's camp. We all did that. We've all been fair to Jose Ramirez in this camp throughout his career. But up until now, it's starting to resemble a fighter who is, I don't want to say it, but maybe segueing to the late end of his career and just wants big paydays instead of the big fights for the championships. Now, here's what I would have to say to the Jose Ramirez extremists out there, because even though we're Jose Ramirez fans, we hate sharing tents with the extremists, and every fan base has extremists in it. That extremist element. So the Jose Ramirez extremists out there who are trying to explain this away and cap for him online, here's what you need to tell yourself. I don't want to look like a Tank Davis extremist. If we're calling out Tank Davis extremists, Errol Spence extremists, we don't want to look like those guys, right? We don't want to say, but if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense for every single bad move that this guy makes. All right. That's all I'll say to the Jose Ramirez extremists out there. All right. Just watch what you're doing. All right. Anyway, moving on. Speaking of non-duckers, Top Rank at 135 is resembling a sport. Top Rank at 135, their fighters want all the smoke. We got ourselves a nice semifinal matchups here going on. Right? Now, Shakur Stevenson versus Yoshino on paper looks like a mismatch, and it is, right? But Yoshino isn't the guy Shakur Stevenson wanted. Shakur Stevenson wanted my guy, Zepeda, the Mexican murder hornet, who unfortunately looks like swerved away from the fight at this point in time. Camboso, same thing. So it falls to Yoshino, Shakur Stevenson versus Yoshino in April. And then we've got the big one, Lomachenko versus Haney, or Haney versus Lomachenko in May. I love it. I love what's going on there. Real fighters, real fights, real championships. How do you see that semifinals playing out? You like that? That looks like non-duck moves to me.
The thing with Yoshino, I mean, this is an opportunity for him because he wasn't the first option for Shakur. Shakur wanted like some of the big fish, and some of the big fish, it wasn't them. It was the dudes with the suits. Okay, whatever, right? It's funny how like the dudes with the suits don't get in the way when it's an easy opponent. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They're only in the way, right? Like they're only in the way, and they're to be used as a crutch when it's convenient. Yoshino, a lot of domestic level opponents. That's basically most of his resume. But it's like the Rocket song, rising up, working his way to the top. So like this is his opportunity. Do I think he's gonna win? No. But you know what I mean? But hey, this is boxing. He has every right to prove me wrong. Right. So this is his shot. He deserves a shot. I am an advocate of fighters getting their shot, even if I don't think they could win. You know what I mean? That's what I'm all about being an advocate out here. You know what I mean? Just like hashtag don't be sexist, vote plata. You know what I mean? Like I'm about being an advocate for things that matter, Calix. Right? So I'm for giving him the shot, and it's a good matchup for Shakur. By the way, it is. You don't want to have a too easy of a fight either, right? I think he's going to have some resistance here. If there's one thing about fighters in Asia, especially, they're tough and they're gritty, and he's not going to stop coming, and they don't give up. You know what I mean? So that's going to make Shakur work, throughout the fight, and he needs that. He needs, some action before getting in the ring with either Haney or Loma, which is no easy out, no matter who wins that fight. So, and I think that's the route they're going. Look, Shakur is ultimately, the Bob father's main plan, right? That's ultimately who he wants to see. Like that's his Patrick Mahomes in a way. You know what I mean? That's who he wants to give the Super Bowl to in a way. So we will see, but I'm looking forward to the fight.
Do you think this is a real semifinals, or is that cap? In other words, I don't think it's a real semifinals. If Lomachenko. I don't think it's a real semifinals at all if Haney wins that fight. And let me just give my explanation as to why. I think this is Haney's last fight at 135. So in theory, yes, semifinals, okay. Haney versus Lomachenko, Shakur versus Yoshino over here. Shakur is going to win that fight. And I agree with you that Shakur, when Bob is sitting back looking at from his unbiased view, I think he wants Lomachenko to beat Haney. But he also knows that Shakur is going to come out of this victorious at 135. Shakur has the highest ceiling at 135. I think that's how Bob's looking at this. But I think he'd rather Lomachenko win at one. I've always felt that Bob wanted Lomachenko to be the undisputed champ at 135 and Teofimo spoiled those plans. So I think it's going to be, if Lomachenko wins this fight, then it resembles a semifinals tournament. But if Haney wins this fight, I think Haney moves right up to 140. And I think Lomachenko versus Shakur Stevenson is happening end of this year, early next year, regardless.
Definitely.
Whether Lomachenko, and for the people saying, oh, how can you do Lomachenko fighting Shakur? Why would people be interested in Lomachenko versus Shakur coming off of a loss for Lomachenko? What better matchup is there realistically for Shakur Stevenson?
Let me ask you this, though. Is Lomachenko going to turn into Woody if he wins, and Shakur's now Buzz Lightyear? You know what I mean? And Aram's like, well, it's a new, fresher toy. You know what I mean? This was kind of washed up a little. It still has a special place in my heart, but hey, it's time to move on here. You know what I mean? I think that's his ultimate plan. But I do believe they'll offer Haney's a good amount of money to fight Shakur, but I don't think he'll fight Shakur. I agree with that. He'll move up.
Yeah, I think he's already got in his mind this is his last fight at 135, and he's moving on to 140. So I think that Bob, it's either way, it's good for him, because if Haney wins this fight, then he's possibly a new star, right? Possibly. But I think Bob's looking at it like, if Lomachenko wins this fight at 135, whether he wins or lose, I can use him as a sacrificial lamb to make sure Shakur Stevenson the undisputed champion at 135, because Lomachenko, we know, will fight anyone. You got to at least give him that. Even the Lomachenko haters out there, you got to give him that. He's willing to face anybody. He's one of the guys at 135 who will face anybody. And Devin Haney is showing that as well. He'll face anybody. So I think 135, Haney moving from 135 to 140. Bob also knows that Haney versus Teofimo at 140, whether those guys are coming off of losses or not, is a big fight I can make at 140.
And by the way, before because I already know how boxing fans are, they don't pay attention to. Well, I don't want to some boxing fans are. Like, here's the thing. Before somebody comes out and says, why aren't you guys trashing Shakur for fighting this guy? He's going to be a big favorite. But you say all this about this guy and that guy. Why did you do it, huh? Huh? Why'd you do that, huh? Let me tell you why. Because he tried to fight Cruz. He tried to fight Cepeda. He tried to make those fights happen. Those weren't the only fights he tried to make. This is like his 7th or 8th option. Other fighters like Andrade, okay, haven't tried. They don't try to make those fights. Okay, he didn't try to make the Janibek fight. He ducked the Janibek fight. No, he didn't duck. Don't say that. He ducked. How can you possibly say he ducked? Like this, look. He ducked. Okay, that's how I could say it. Like so I'm just saying context. What's the beautiful thing about context, Calix? Hashtag context matters.
Yep.
Okay, it matters, ladies and gentlemen. All right, and I want to ask the chat right now. All right. And Calix, are you down with HCP?
You know me.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are back every Monday. Hit that bell button. We appreciate everyone who's here in the morning, by the way. Much appreciated. Hit that like button. Jab the like button. All right. Before we get to our closing thoughts, Calix, I'm dying to know what your closing thoughts are. We don't tell each other our closing thoughts. But before we get there, I want to see if is the chat still look at the chat. See, I believed in the chat. You know what I mean? Look at this. So we got some votes here. Diaz 26. I messed up something else. I feel kind of bad, but it's not Rodriguez. But nonetheless, Rodriguez still got 12%. Nova 29%. Jessica Neri Plata 32%. Just like that, okay? I'll give you guys, so the clock says 03 to put in your votes. One last tally, put them in, all right? When that clock hits 03, well 05. You know what? A little more so people don't see I'm like, we're gonna go ahead and say till it hits 05, okay? And then we'll close the thing here. Why Abraham Nova, Calix?
Nova, moving up to 130. He's coming off of a loss. I like that win coming off the loss to Robeisy Ramirez. It opens up, and he did it in a fashion to where he faced some resistance. He showed well at 130, but he also showed that he's beatable at 130, right? So I think he'll get the fights, but it opens up some avenues for him at 130, some realistic avenues for his career, and it's a good win for him coming off the loss. Moving up a weight class.
For sure. Oh, for sure. We got the 30 likes.
So the people need to know. They need to know this because you're trying to be biased here towards your pick. The people need to know that a vote for Nova isn't a vote for sexism. It's not. Don't let this politician lie to you. Don't let him lie to you.
You know what I'll do if she doesn't win? I'll just say female HCP of the week. How about that? Who's going to stop me from doing that? You know what I mean? I'll just make an award just for her. I'll just do that, and I'll post it. I'll say the female HCP of the week because the chat was being sexist. She unified the belts, bro, in a fight of the year candidates. I'm just saying.
Strong. That's strong.
Shout out to Bruce Goss, the OG. You know what I mean? I don't want to like trigger Bruce Goss, but I'm gonna do something right now. All right, you ready, Calix?
Mm-hmm.
You ready? You ready?
Go ahead.
Whoa! All right, I'm just playing. Shout out to Bruce Goss, man. That was a great aftermath show. All Goss, no breaks. Subscribe to the channel, by the way. Love her music, love her boxing. We got about a minute left, ladies and gentlemen. You got to take those votes in. You know what I mean? You got to put those votes in for the rightful winner, Plata. But if you want to vote for Castro Diaz, you could do that as well. That mistake won't happen again. I just want to put that out there. All right. So what happens if it's a draw? Well, what's going on over here? Co-winners, I guess.
Co-winner. Do a co-winner.
Yeah. All right. Calix, give us your final thought for this week.
Stephen Fulton Jr. may or may not be facing Brandon Figueroa in a rematch of a fight in a weight class north. I would demand with Stephen Fulton Jr. and his extremist fan base to stay at 122 and either fight MJ Akhmadaliev which is a realistic fight, despite what they're telling you. Fight him for undisputed at 122, or do the Inoue fight right now in a lower weight class super fight at 122. Don't duck the smoke. The fight at 126 with Brandon Figueroa can happen at any time. Inoue is waiting at 122. He's vacated the belts. The monster is invading another division. Fight that fight. Interesting fight. Or fight for undisputed against MJ Akhmadaliev and fight Inoue for all the belts at 122. That's the move.
Look, my final thought, it isn't really about any boxer or boxing stuff going on. It's just a shout out. I want to give a shout out to Luna Tune Boxing. You can follow him on Twitter, on Instagram, social media. A lot of you are already familiar with him. He does a lot of great cartoons and stuff. And Hooked Up, he's a big fan of HCP. A lot of fans of HCP out there. And he went ahead and hooked us up with some artwork here. So he did me a favor. He added about 2 inches to my height right there, so I can't complain. You know what I mean? And there you go. So shout out to Luna 2 Boxing, man. Hooking us up with the graphics and all that, Calix. You know what I mean? So shout out to him.
That's right.
All right. With that said, guys, this is the Style Boxing, and of course, CalixBoxing. That is the show. We're getting the hell out of here. You know what I mean? So peace out, everybody.